I'm again back here. As I mentioned, our continuous research and development in the society has changed our life to the great extent. We know that in earlier era, the bikes or car, there were a lot of troubles. But nowadays, there are very few trouble in the car and bikes. Okay. Okay. So this is only because of research and development, and we also see in the medical field we made substantial development. We develop various medicines that can cure the patient very fast. So this is all because of research. And one thing I will mention, that basis for research is the nature follows the rule, and we discover these rules. Okay, so that's why it is called as research. It is already there. We can only research it. We find it again. So there is no meaning of doing engineering and science if the nature is not following the rule. The basis is that nature is following the rule, and that rules we use for our benefit. Okay. Now we'll move to the next topic called as a characteristic of research. We have already seen that what are the dependent and independent parameter. Dependent parameter is what? The parameter which depends on other. We already seen the previous lecture. And what is the independent parameter? It is a parameter which affect the other parameter. That is called as independent parameter. So one of the important characteristic of research is conducted in a controlled atmosphere. That's why it is called as controlled. One of the characteristics is that research is controlled. Research is controlled. Okay, so research is conducted in a controlled way. How? Suppose there are 5 independent parameters. So what we have to do? Only allow to vary one parameter, independent parameter, keep the remaining 4 parameter constant. Suppose the parameter 1 is to be varied from 1 to 10. Then in one case you take 1. The next reading you take parameter 1 as a 2. In next case you take parameter 1 as 3. Like this you vary the parameter 1. Then you move to the parameter 2, you allow to vary the parameter 2 and remaining 4 parameter constant. Like this we have to see the effect of what? Effect of independent parameters on the dependent parameter. Okay. This is called as controlled condition. So we have to conduct the research in the controlled atmosphere. So please understand, this is possible for engineering, science, but some fields like history, it is not possible. Some fields like geography, it is not always possible. Okay. So wherever possible, we conduct the experiment in the controlled condition. This is the important characteristic of research. So the things can be very clear. Then comes the rigorous. The research is rigorous. We must be strict in ensuring the procedure followed to find the answers to the questions that should be relevant, appropriate, and justified. Okay. The process should be relevant, appropriate, and justified. Please understand here, meaning of rigorous means what? We must strictly follow the procedure every time, and we must not deviate from the procedure. That is called as what? Rigorous. Okay, rigorous means what? We must strictly follow the procedure each time, every time. We should not deviate from the procedure. Okay, that is called as second characteristic, that is the rigorous. Now we'll see the next characteristic. Research should be systematic. What is the meaning of systematic? You might have heard that particular person is having very systematic work. What is the meaning of systematic? Systematic means what? Following the logical sequence. Okay, so I will give the two real life example where if you don't follow the logical sequence, something wrong will happen. Let us take the example of preparing groundnut chutney in the mixer. What is the first step? First step, you just open the pot of chutney. You pour here groundnut, then chili powder, salt. Then you close this pot with the lid. Then you put this pot on the mixer. Then you connect this lid to the power supply. Switch on the knob, and start the mixer. This is a logical sequence. Then you will get the chutney. Now see if the logical sequence is not followed, what will happen? If the logical sequence is not followed, what will happen? Okay. So now I'll continue and I will explain what is illogical sequence in this making the chutney. So in illogical sequence, what I will do, I will put the mixer pot in the mixer, connect it with the power supply, switch on the power of mixer, turn on the knob, and then I open the lid to put the groundnut, salt and chili. And then I will try to close the lid. What will happen? Everything will come out. Everything will what? Come out. Okay, so that is what something happened bad because we didn't follow the logical sequence. Okay. Now we will see one more example, which is very simple example from the student's life. Student use this immersion heater with a bucket. So what is the logical sequence for heating the water in the bucket? First put the water in the bucket, then you put the heater and connect to power supply, switch on the power of the heater. So it will heat the water. If it is an illogical sequence, what will happen? You follow different sequence, like you first put the heater in the bucket which is without water, connect the heater to the power supply, then you search bucket for bringing the water and put there. So meanwhile what will happen? This heater will burn. This is an example of systematic. Okay, so you have to follow the logical sequence. So you should be systematic in doing the research. Now next characteristic of research is that it should be valid and verifiable. Whatever we conclude, it should be correct and can be verified by us and others. Please understand, it should be valid, like we know by experience and from research that mass we cannot create or destroy. There is conservation of mass. If in any particular research we are not able to link this, means it is what? It is not valid. Officially we cannot say it is correct. Okay, so research should be valid. Next thing is it should be verifiable. So whatever we conclude based on the results, same conclusion come from your peer, your friend working in the same area. Your and his conclusion should match. It should be verifiable. Whatever you conclude, it should be verifiable. That is called as valid and verifiable. Okay, this should be officially acceptable. Valid means what? Officially acceptable. Like I give the example that in your research, you are not, it is not valid. Conservation of mass. We know that conservation of mass, there is only one exception, is a nuclear reaction. Otherwise, in the earth, there is no exception for conservation of mass. So it should be valid and it should be verifiable. Whatever you conclude, the same conclusion should come from the person who is working in your area based on the fact. Please understand, you have to talk based on the facts, not what you want to say. Okay? It should be valid and verifiable. Next come empirical. This is very important. Please understand, empirical means what? Research should be based on real life experience. Research should be based on what? Real life experience. It should not be imaginary. Please understand. Research should be empirical, means it should be based on real life experience. It should not be imaginary. Then question will come. Nowadays we use many softwares for analysis, like I use CFD software for flow and heat transfer analysis. Whether the results from these softwares are empirical or imaginary? Yes, it is empirical because the software uses the governing equations, Navier-Stokes equation, energy equations, which are based on real life experience. Then same thing about the electronic people, they use ANSYS, HFSS for doing the antenna analysis. Whether it is empirical? Yes, it's empirical because the governing equation for electric and magnetic field is what? Real life. It is not imaginary. Okay, so it is a empirical relation. Please understand what you think. It is not research. So it should be real life experience, then and then we can say it is research. So this fourth characteristic is very important. Then comes critical. Research is critical. So what is the meaning of this? That method used must be foolproof and free from the drawback. So here critically we have to review. Okay, so our purpose is here to judge the thing, okay, to find what is wrong, what is right. So that's why our method should be free from drawback itself. If the method is wrong, then our judgment or our conclusion will be wrong. So method should be foolproof. So it should not give the wrong result even if something goes wrong. Okay, it should be foolproof means what? Even fool should not make mistake. Okay, foolproof means what? Not capable of going wrong. Not capable of going wrong. That is called as what? Foolproof. Okay, so your method should be foolproof without drawback. And like I have given one example, this is called as hydrostatic paradox. Here there are three vessels having the same area at the base and the same height of the liquid. Now, how to find the pressure at the bottom? So we have to see the appropriate method. If you use rho GH formula, the pressure will be same in all the vessels. But if you divide force divided by area, then you find the force from the weight of the fluid, then it will not match. So you have to select appropriate method which is foolproof, which is free from the drawbacks, because our work is here to judge. When our methods are not correct, our judgment will be wrong. Thank you for this. I will stop here. Thank you.